Hey everybody, I wanted to say good to see you, but good to be seen. Feeling much better. Thank you guys for your prayers. I wanted to respond to what Secretary of State John Kerry said yesterday. I promise I will not take 70 minutes as he did in his condemnation of Israel. But one of the things that John Kerry said yesterday is that Israel's settlements are an impediment, that they endanger peace. Now, do you know how ridiculous that is to say that a bunch of Jewish people building a city, a town, a village in historic Judea and Samaria is an impediment to peace when you have so many other crazy things going on in the world? So I wanted to offer Mr. Kerry 7 things that are more of an impediment to peace than Israelis building a town, because that's what a settlement is. Settlement is it's an evil word, like Zionist. All it means is that some Jewish people have gone into the area from which Jordan used to attack Israel before we took it from them because they attacked us, and we built cities for our security. But here's 7 things that are actually more of an just a little bit more of an endangerment to peace than settlements. Number 1, Hamas digging terror tunnels. That's when Hamas activists, these are terrorists, that they dig tunnels. They use the concrete and the equipment from aid money that is supposed to go to the Palestinian people of Gaza. They rob the people of Gaza, and then they seek to build tunnels into Israel so that they can commit murder. That is more of an impediment to peace than building a town. Secondly, Hamas's rule, ironclad rule over the Palestinians. There's one story that just sticks in my mind for several years ago. A young Palestinian, he was a gas station attendant who had gel. I have a little gel in my hair. He had gel in his hair. Hamas policemen pulled up, threw him in the back of a van. They took him to the police station where they shaved his head. Now that would have been sort of okay, I guess. Not very nice. But after they shaved his head, they beat his feet mercilessly until he could not walk. They took him home and dropped him off. And when I say dropped him off, I mean they threw him out. That's what Hamas does to the citizens of Gaza. Their own people. Imagine what they want to do to the Jewish people. Number 3 in our 7 things that are more of an impediment to peace than Israelis building a town or a settlement. Hezbollah, an ISIS-like terror group, has 120,000 missiles pointed at Israel. Mr. Kerry, that is a little bit more of an impediment. And you know what? If we dismantled every settlement today, those 120,000 missiles would still be pointed at. I don't think Hezbollah is going to say, you know what, those Jews are so sweet that they've taken down the settlements, and you know what, we're done. God bless. They're not going to, Allah bless them. They're not going to do that. And how do we know that? Because they never do. In 2005, when we left Gaza without a peace agreement, we thought, hey, we'll be nice, we'll leave, it'll be good. Hamas will see that we don't want war, that we want peace. They didn't see that as a goodwill gesture. They saw that as stupidity on our part. They saw it as weakness. And we've received 17,000, give or take a few, rockets, missiles, not just aimed at us, shot at us. That's since we gave them land. So, Mr. Kerry, there really is no such thing as land for peace with terrorists, especially Islamic terrorists, because it's not about Israel, it's about world domination. Okay, let's continue. You're going to like this one, Mr. Kerry, because this is more of an impediment to peace than Israelis building a town in historic Judea and Samaria. The Palestinian Authority pays salaries to terrorists and their families to the tune of, are you ready for this? Are you ready, Mr. Kerry? $140 million a year. That is 10% of the entire Palestinian Authority budget goes to paying off terrorists and their families. That means $140 million that can be going to feed people, to produce jobs, to start businesses, to deal with sewage and electricity. That money is going to pay terrorists. Now, how do you expect Mr. Netanyahu to sit down with Mahmoud Abbas and come up with a peace deal when this guy is giving 10% of his budget to terrorists and their families? That's more of an impediment to peace than building a town. Okay, number 5. The Palestinian Authority names streets and public squares and even soccer teams, football to the rest of the world, after Palestinian terrorists. They celebrate, they rejoice. The mothers hand out candy in the street when a Jew is murdered by a Palestinian terrorist. That's more of an impediment to peace than building a settlement, Mr. Kerry. You could have spent a little bit more than, just mentioning Hamas 4 times yesterday. In fact, I've never seen you so angry. I mean, you were one of the most non-passionate dudes I've ever seen on TV, and you were so angry at Israel yesterday. I've never seen you so fired up, man. Now, if that's how you treat your friends, I cannot imagine how you treat your enemies. And you said, well, no, friends tell friends the truth. You do it in private. You don't do it in publicly, and it's not the truth. Because settlements are not an impediment to peace. Terrorism, Islamic radicalism is an impediment to peace. And then finally, number 6, how about this one? Paying Iran $1.7 billion in ransom money is a huge impediment to peace, because that encourages the nut jobs in Iran, the Ayatollahs, the fundamentalist Islamists, to continue to kidnap Americans or Westerners or Israelis, because now you've just told them you'll come up with nearly $2 billion. $1.7 billion. You encouraged them to do more. That's more of an impediment to peace in the Middle East than building a town in historic Judea or Samaria. And then lastly, John Kerry, you scolding Israel publicly, angrily, in front of her mortal enemies. That is a huge impediment to peace. You yelling at Israel, yelling at the prime minister, calling him the most far right-wing government in the history, getting angry in front of the nations that want to kill Israel. Let me explain something to you, Mr. Kerry, Secretary of State. There is not one country that Israel is seeking to eliminate. Did you know that? There's not one country in the world that Israel is actively seeking to eliminate. And yet there are more than a dozen countries that are either actively seeking to eliminate Israel or really, really wish we would disappear. Do you understand the difference? See, it's a huge moral unequivalency. I don't even know if that's a word. It is not a moral equivalency. You are talking about nations that want the Jews to die, that like Hitler, that would love to see all the Jews thrown into the Mediterranean Sea, and a nation that is coming up, I'm talking about Israel now, coming up with medical breakthroughs, technological breakthroughs. Do you know, Mr. Kerry, that our country, Israel, is treating wounded soldiers in the Syrian civil war, even terrorists? They come to a special place where they're brought into Israel to a medical, a field hospital in the Golan Heights, where we treat them free of charge. That's better than Obamacare. So anyways, there you go. 7 things that are more of an impediment to peace in the Middle East than Israel's building settlements on the ancient homeland that God gave to them. So listen, have a great New Year, Mr. Kerry. 22 more days, you're going to be done. So I'm excited about that. Also, Mr. Obama, President Obama, your boss, you guys are going to be done. And I just try not to do too much damage before you leave. Okay, and to all our friends out there, Happy New Year. We bless you. May God's grace be on you. May God's favor be upon Israel. Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. Bye-bye.